State standards and student growth. Why state standards don't matter as much as we thought. This is a very fast article, that's what I call it, because it goes straight into the research. I like this article a lot. And when you read it, hopefully you did too. It gives you this page right here is just who these people are. It's the director of the Kingsbury Center, and it just talks about who they are. So this is kind of probably a report that they did for their organization, but they have a lot of data. The goal, they give you a real quick summary. The goal of the No Child Left Behind Act was to ensure that states set educational standards in core academic subjects and to hold schools accountable for ensuring that all students meet these standards. So just give you an idea of what No Child Left Behind was and is. No Child Left Behind was ratified in 2002. It stated that 12 years after ratification, which would be 2014, that all states who were part of No Child Left Behind, i.e. getting federal funding, would reach 100% of AYP, which means every school would have 100% students passing their state standards. So we're still under No Child Left Behind, and so by 2014 we should have a 100% pass rate. Now, what that means is when you look at in 2002, if your state was here and 100% is here, this is 100%. So every year you should move towards 100%. Now, every year you should have what is known as adequate yearly progress, or AYP. So your AYP should be moving up. Now, what many school districts did, which they might regret to this day, is when the first testing cycle came out, they scored here, like 85%, and they kind of leveled off, went down a little bit, went up a little bit, and they never have reached that 100%, because no school district in Mississippi has reached 100% on all state test scores. So they're kind of just what you really should have done was your first year was have your school districts just bottom out, and then every year gradually improve and hopefully try to get to 100%. But that's what AYP is, and that's what the 2014 with No Child Left Behind means. The reason they chose 12 years was every child in every grade, beginning in first grade, after 12 years, that child would be a senior. So everyone would have been exposed by 2014, every grade, to state testing. So that is what AYP is. That's what No Child Left Behind is. So the argument was, now, of course, the federal government told the states, you set the standards and we'll monitor. So if your standards are too low, we will not give you as much money. So Mississippi created the MCT, the Mississippi Curriculum Test, and their scores were right in here. Everyone was doing well, and Mississippi was doing 70% on biology, and then all of a sudden the federal government said your scores are too easy, so Mississippi had to do an MCT2 test, and our scores then dipped, and now we're still struggling to get back up. All these scores can be seen on the Mississippi Department of Education website. So that's why we didn't just make an easy test. It has to be approved by the federal government. And that's why MCT2 is now here, because the MCT1 was deemed as too easy. And the federal government kind of slapped us on the hand and said, y'all got to fix this. So right here says that proficiency standards must eventually choose between easing their standards to the point that even the lowest performing students can meet them or face increasing federal sanctions of schools. Many states have indeed lowered their proficiency cut scores since No Child Left Behind's implementation. So now it becomes the idea of where should the test scores be and where should proficiency be. Other criticisms have focused on No Child Left Behind's use of proficiency rates as school performance metric, which means if a school district has 85% pass rate on U.S. history test score, does that mean that the school district is doing well and proficient? Many people say that there needs to be more factors to that, but recently all the states who are doing No Child Left Behind sort of just focused on test scores, which is not good. Students whose performance exceeds their state proficiency. So here's our question. Let's say this is proficiency. This is passing in U.S. history. What about the students who are here, above proficiency? And what about the students who are below proficiency? That's what the article discusses, is are these students being challenged after they've rated above proficiency? And are these students being challenged to pull themselves up? What about these students? Are they just proficient? Or are they being encouraged to move up as well? So that's the whole idea, is where are we challenging every student? This article talks about this is their 2 goals right here that they set out. They wanted to look at differences. As we scroll down the article, which has just a lot of really good information, they actually say right here to investigate it. They have over 100,000 students and they have all this data. So this section right here talks about all their wide use of data that they have, which is just amazing, what all the resources they have to find out their results for this study. The first question they had was, do students who fall below the proficiency level of their state's proficiency standards demonstrate greater growth? So these students do better than students who are already proficient. The students who already meet or exceed their state proficiency standards showed less academic growth over the 2008-2009 school year relative to their peers. So the study found that students who were here and here showed less growth than here. So that means we're pulling students to the middle. The results indicate that students who meet or exceed their state proficiency standards at the beginning of the school year prior to receiving any instruction, roughly 1/2 of each of our samples, receive less benefit from their instruction than they do their lower. So this is really groundbreaking research, which means that we are teaching to the middle. So these students in pre-test who did well and these students who met proficiency weren't being challenged throughout the year as these students were. So that would mean we're meeting to the middle or we're teaching the test. We hear that a lot. So we scroll down. Do students in states with difficult proficiency standards show more academic growth? So if a state sets the bar really high compared to other states who set it low, do those students see more academic growth? And what they found was it was really inconclusive. Students from states with difficult reading standards showed neither more nor less. So what that means is no matter where your standards are, the students did not grow higher or lower. So for example, what does that mean in real terms? So kind of amazing, it means if Mississippi set their standards here, they would still get this. This would move up and these would maintain. So the standards need to be set at whatever level the state wants. Across all 4 samples, we found that a student's status relative to his or her state proficiency bar had effect on growth, and that students below the proficiency bar showed greater growth than those above it. So once again, their studies showed no matter where the bar is, this growth below was greater than the growth in the middle or above. So we scroll down. What did impact growth was not whether state proficiency standards were high or low, but whether a student was above or below. So what does this study mean? It means real simple, one thing. Throughout all of their 100,000 students and their data from 2008-2009, when No Child Left Behind was really going strong, it means any student below proficiency will move more up to proficiency than students at proficiency or higher, meaning that we're teaching to the middle. So if you have an advanced student who's just scoring really high, that student's not going to be stimulated. That student's definitely going to just kind of get bored, which ultimately can lead to dropout rates. All right, so they throw a lot of research at you. They throw it at you real fast. Really good research article.